So Ryan, with Michael out, how does that maybe change your approach to matchups, given you've got McKinnon and some other talented players on the team?
You have to challenge the other guys that are in our lineup to raise their level. Like, it's not one guy, and I think you always talk about that when a key guy goes out with an injury, he's not available. You don't necessarily have one guy replace him, it's collectively. So we have some guys that are going to be tasked with a little bit more responsibility for sure. With the amount that McKinnon plays, I don't think you can rely on one line, one pair to play against him. So it's going to be a collective effort to work to slow him down.
So we don't really look at maybe Nazem as sort of a shutdown center, but might we see him maybe take more defensive zone faceoffs?
He's going to have to be used in the circle. I mean, I don't think that's going to change, but Naz is going to play the way he plays. He may get a few more minutes in certain situations, but the face-off side of thing is important. But I do feel like we have three legitimate centers that should be able to take draws in all situations, and Sharon will play in the middle tonight too, so he's been there before and he knows what he's doing.
Ryan, we've seen this in different markets over the years, like where a team that's on the playoff bubble loses an important guy and everyone says, geez, is this what takes them out of it? Is there a way that you can help make sure this is something the group rallies around?
From what our messaging will be, or from coming from, hey, listen, I think a lot of times your leadership group, whether that starts with the coaching staff or your guys, the six guys, whatever we talk about all the time, a lot of times it's how they approach or how they come into the rink every day, so the players understand that it doesn't really matter who's in or out of our lineup. Expectations are the same, and that goes to the point of other guys have to raise their level, other lines, other pairs have to raise their level. It's something we've done all year, and I believe it's something that we'll continue to do.
I don't believe there's been a game in your head coaching tenure that you haven't had Michael Backlund on the bench. What do you anticipate might be different without him there?
Well, a little bit to the earlier question, I use him in situations against top players all the time, so I haven't really had to second guess who's going out there against a McKinnon for a defensive zone faceoff. It's been Michael, but other than that, I think the work that he's done has helped bring along some other people in regards to the leadership and what we look for out of our players. So I do expect our leadership group to be the strongest players for us tonight in his absence, and I know everybody else will follow them.
How did you like or evaluate Yegor when he was down the middle earlier this year?
Off and on. We always talk about wanting to have him have the puck more than what he had, so we put him in the middle, trying to get him touching pucks a little bit more. Did it have impact? I'm not really sure, but this is another opportunity for him to kind of maybe challenge himself, make sure he's finding a way to raise his level to become the impact guy that we know he can be, and there's no better opportunity to do it than a situation that we're in right now. So we need players like that to be at their very best tonight.
Dryden Hunt, one of those guys who you know exactly what you can expect.
Yep,
from.
That's why Dryden's up. Like, I talk about the Wranglers all the time. We've taken a lot of their players again this year. Dryden is a guy that spent the bulk of the season there, but our coaching staff and myself in particular, I do trust Dryden. So whether he's in a role that sees himself on the fourth line or if he gets bumped up throughout the course of a game, Dryden knows how to play. He's been around before. He's got a lot of NHL experience, and he's someone that I am totally comfortable putting on the ice.
I see about Adam Klapka a couple of days ago. You talked about how he's always sort of been a part of it. Dryden hasn't been up as much, but he's obviously played a lot of games with this organization. Is he similar in that regard at all?
Adam to Dryden?
Dryden in terms of, he's always sort of been a part of things.
He was around a lot last year. I mean, and that's where we got more familiar with him as a staff. And when he's around the room, it's like no different for our players either. So they look at him as kind of one of their own.
Without Michael for a little while and without Connor for a couple of games, how much time did you have to spend at the whiteboard, and could lines be fluid tonight?
They will be fluid. I think they have been over the last little while, right? We've moved Connor and Matt around a little bit. Hey, listen, I hope all four lines are at their very best tonight and we can just roll them all. That would be the best thing. But if we need to bump a few people here and there, we'll do that. I'm excited for someone like Adam. Adam's going to get some ice time tonight, and I think with his speed and size, he can impact this game.
Ryan, you were asked about Kadri earlier. I know all guys, crave the sort of big moments and stuff, but he's a guy who really wants to be a difference maker when it matters most. Do you see that sort of coming out of him as we get into March and towards April?
Yeah, you do, and I do. Like even this morning, bouncing around the room, the more important the games are to Naz, the more excited, the more fired up he gets, and it's very evident when you watch him how he handles himself on days like this. So I don't have any doubt he'll be ready to go. I know he'll probably look at me like, hey, I want to play 40 minutes tonight. That's the way Naz is wired, and he'll probably look at me, and if he's not up at 40 minutes, like, what are we doing here? Let's go. But I think his competitiveness and the way he approaches big games has rubbed off on a lot of our players this year. I know what we're going to get from Naz tonight.
Connor's area was suspended for 2 games. What do you want him to learn from this?
I love that Connor went in and stood up for a teammate. So, hey, Connor's not that type of player. I don't think he's ever going to put himself or be in a situation like that again. You know, he's not. I mean, he's had 14 hits this year. That's not Connor, so I don't worry about that at all. I just love the fact that he was there for a teammate.
A little more emphasis that we saw. I mean, obviously Kevin and Jonathan connect for that PK goal, but now without Michael there, a little more emphasis on those guys to kind of pick up some of those PK minutes.
All the guys. For sure, Kevin and Hubie, because they've been our pair that's been together the most, along with Bax and Coles. But all the guys, they have to raise their level in that area.